everyone, welcome back. With Season 9 and Title Update 15 launching tomorrow at 11:30 AM UK time or 12:30 CEST, I wanted to go over what I did like and what I didn't like from the special report on Monday, which detailed almost everything that we can expect from this new update. I'm going to cover the seasonal content like global events, leagues, the story, new weapons, gear, all that sort of stuff. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this one. Please leave your own thoughts and feedback in the comment section down below, and let's get into it. Alright, so let's just jump into this one straight away. I'm going to start off with the stuff that I'm not excited about, not particularly happy with, and then we'll end on a more positive note. So, number one, global events. When Season 9 was revealed, I was hoping that with all the time that has passed, let's not forget it's been about a year and a half since we knew, or since the end of the last season that we had, which was December 2020, I believe. I would have expected, or I would have liked to have seen some new global events at the very least come with this new content, although I have been advocating for a new twist on the global events, especially their rewards, which I've always felt were unrewarding. At this stage, we don't know if the reward structure will be any different. I suspect it won't be and will follow what we've seen previously. But we do know the 6 global events in Season 9, they are not new, and instead they're reused global events from previous seasons. So there's going to be Polarity Switch, Guardians, SHD Exposed, Hollywood, Golden Bullet, and then Reanimated. Now with this, I'm very disappointed, I have to be honest guys, and I just hope that with more time, the devs can create new global events with Seasons 10, 11, and 12. Now moving on to number 2, just like global events, leagues are returning with Season 9. These are new leagues with new rewards, and I'm going to share some images of the new rewards here. They're trophies, which do look, I have to admit, they do look pretty cool, I will say that. But for me personally, leagues are an activity that I feel are very underwhelming in their structure and in their rewards as well. For a lot of people, the difficulty of leagues is a real issue, and this is something Yannick has confirmed they want to address. But for now, these new leagues will function exactly as they have done in previous seasons, which again, I'm just not happy about. So on to number 3, there appears to be no new content coming with Season 9 that I believe will satisfy the hardcore audience. Now Massive might argue that the new countdown mode is very difficult if you play solo, as it gets progressively more difficult the fewer people are actually playing, which is strictly true. But as I've pointed out before in various videos, I disagree this will satisfy the hardcore fans who breeze through Legendary. And let's not forget, most people who play Legendary content are either playing solo, and actually I would say the majority of them are actually playing in maybe teams of 3 or more, so maybe 2 to 4 players. And if you're playing countdown mode with 2 to 4 players, it won't be as hard as Legendary difficulty in the current game, and so there really isn't anything there. Now Yannick did say they want to create more challenge for the top 1%, and that's something they're looking into, but Season 9 won't have that and has been clearly built to satisfy the 99% of the audience. Number 4, Yannick confirmed there won't be any kind of map expansion, not just with Season 9, but at least for the year's worth of content. Now this is something I expected, but it still doesn't make it easier to digest. As someone who spends most of my time running from control point to control point, as you guys would have seen in pretty much every single video that I do, including this one, I'm doing control point stuff or just running around the open world. I spend most of my time there. I think the open world in the Division 2, for me at least, is probably one of, if not the best open world that I've played. So it's quite sad to think that we aren't getting any more. There are no plans for any more of that at the moment. Now I still enjoy the open world, whether that be DC or New York now, and that will likely not change, but I wish we'd have had something new to get our teeth into. Maybe if these new seasons do really well and Ubisoft greenlight another year's worth of content after this one, then we might get some, so fingers crossed for that. Alright, number 5. Now I don't play PvP in this game, and I don't intend on starting anytime soon. Not because I don't like PvP, because I play PvP in Destiny and many other games. I play Battlefield 5 regularly. I do love PvP. But the PvP in this game is just, in my opinion, really poor. and just nowhere near the kind of fun that I had back in the Division. There are still way too many balance issues, and as expected, PvP is essentially at the bottom of the list for the next year's worth of content. As Yannick confirms, the new team working on the game were built with PvE in mind. Now, Yannick did say they will try to fix some broken outliers in PvP, and did say they wanted to look into the Dark Zones, but I'm not expecting any significant changes, and there definitely won't be any new PvP content like maps or anything like that. Again, I did expect this, but I wish it was different. Alright, lastly, number 6 on the happy list or not so happy list is the confirmation there is no DLC on the horizon. Now, again, this is expected. I did not expect to have a DLC, certainly not this year. And it's entirely possible that we get 2 or more years worth of new content and that this changes later on down the line. But to hear that this isn't on the list right now is disappointing. Warlords of New York, in my opinion, was a good DLC, and I would love to have another similar to that. You know, I don't mind seasons when they are done properly. You take Destiny 2, they're a good example of how seasons should be done. I don't think the Division 2 has lived up to that kind of seasonal prowess that Destiny 2 has, likely mainly just due down to the fact that they don't have the resources for it. But I did think the DLC, the Warlords DLC, was very good, and I would love to have seen another one. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as though we're going to get any kind of fully fledged DLC for quite some time, if ever. Now, let's move on to the stuff that I'm more excited about, the stuff that I'm happy about with Season 9 and Title Update 15. Number 1, whilst I think the new Countdown game mode still needs some work, I did have a lot of fun playing it during the PTS, and I am looking forward to playing it again. Now, that is something that I can't say for a lot of the content in the Division 2, something that I'm looking forward to playing, which I am with this mode. The environment is quality, it's fast-paced most of the time, it's quick, it's intense towards the end, and there is a ton of loot. Plus, the hunters, they can be quite challenging. I will probably be spending the majority of my time in this new mode. I suspect most of the footage that you're going to see going forward when I'm making news videos, all of that sort of stuff on the channel will be me in that mode, especially when you consider that this is going to be a great mode for the expertise system. And talking of expertise system, point number 2 is the expertise mode. Now, whilst this is intended to be a passive feature, it is something that I want to get my teeth into, the same way that I did with the recalibration library. I've said this before, but this new update had to include a way for us to feel like we are progressing as a character. And as most people didn't like the idea of a power level increase, something that I would have personally been happy with, something that I've always been happy with when they do it in Destiny, this is Massive's way of giving us that player progression feeling. Now, the resources required to progress the expertise system with the grading and all that sort of stuff, these were significantly reduced in Phase 3 of the PTS. I didn't get a whole lot of chance to test it in Phase 3, so I'm kind of hoping that those resources are in a much better place now. We'll have to wait and see. For number 3, Massive have confirmed they are still building out their team. Yannick confirmed, and you will see on the Massive careers page, that jobs are still available to work on the Division 2. Now, whilst the number of people working on the game is probably around 50 to 80 right now, which in terms of development isn't a lot of people, the idea they are still building the team out is good news. Plus, as Yannick confirmed, UB Bucharest will still be working and collaborating with Massive on new content. So I'm hoping that with UB Bucharest, who have basically built the Countdown game mode, that we will hopefully get maybe new missions outside of the current maps, like the way we've got Camp White Oak and all that sort of stuff. Maybe we'll get another new mode on top of the Countdown mode, and these will kind of come in later seasons, especially as Yannick confirmed that the team that are currently working on the Division 2 had to basically train themselves to work on the Division 2 under the Snowdrop engine, and as they get these processes in place that are quicker and people become more efficient at doing it, they should be able to roll out content in a much faster pace, but also work on content and get it out to us, which is good news. It's just good to hear that Massive are still building out the team for this game. Number 4, with a new narrative director working on the new content for the next year, Yannick confirmed they want to lean more into the story for the next 4 seasons and want to better deliver on that story. Now, whilst I've not been a huge fan of the story throughout the Division 2, I wouldn't say because I didn't like the story, but I feel as though it hasn't been delivered all that well, and I think Yannick feels the same way, which is why there is a new narrative director, and which is why they are working on better delivering on that story. A good example is obviously the killing of Fei Lao, which some people weren't sure if she was dead or she wasn't, and there was some confusion around that. I'm hoping that the delivery will be better and thus the story will be more impactful. But on top of that, the killing of Fei Lao and the new story direction that we know of has my interest piqued. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the story as we progress through the year. Alright, lastly, number 6. Massive have made some manhunt improvements called mission takeovers. Each manhunt lieutenants will each take over a main mission from the DC campaign. Massive confirmed these mission takeovers will become more common in future seasons as Massive expand the capabilities of the system. For Season 9, this means these missions will be repopulated with the true Sons. I just want to tack onto this that of course I'm excited as well about the new exotics, the new gear, the new weapons, and the new apparel events, which do look pretty cool from what we've seen so far. I'm excited they've made these changes to the manhunts. I will have to say that. We'll have to see how this kind of plays out as we go through, because I'm not totally sure how it's going to feel as we play it, but it has to be better than it was before. Now, sure, I would have loved to have seen some new missions. There's no doubt about that, and I'm sure everyone would have loved that. And I hope we do get some in the future. But I guess this is better than nothing at all. That's it, everyone. Thanks for sticking around until the end. If you haven't already, please leave your own good and bad things comment in the comment section down below. Tomorrow is probably going to be quite a busy one. I'm hoping to get at least one video out, but I am of course going to be playing the new content when it drops at 11:30 here in the UK. Make sure your notifications are turned on if you don't want to miss any of my coverage of the new content as we go forward. Until the next one, Epic out.